Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu Jagatpate, Gopesh, Gopikantam, Radhakanta Namostute, Takta Kanchana Gorangi, Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanu Sutade, Pranamami Hari Te, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha, Patidanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Why was opulence, wealth, and power given to Bali Maharaj? Generally speaking, it's not very good. It's a distraction for the devotees. Let's be honest. I just get a little more money, just want more. If I just get a little more stuff, then Krishna, I'll be peaceful and I'll chant your holy names with attention. It's just that I need this one more thing. It's right on the horizon. It's just around the corner. If you would just give that to me, I swear I would definitely chant with love. But how long does this go on for? For some devotees, a few lifetimes. For some devotees, thousands of lifetimes. For those who are favored by the Lord, he does the opposite. He takes away everything, which is such an, we should all know, of course. Of course, I know it. I'm just testing to see if you guys know it. That's wherein the Lord is speaking to Yudhishthir. And he says, where he says, I know the verse. I'm just asking if you, Prabhus, know in the 88th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Lord says, Yasyaham anugri harishe taddanam shanai tathodhanam tyajant asya svajana dukha dukitam. It's a very important verse for all of us to consider. The Lord speaking to Yudhishthir and says, if I especially favor someone, right, of saying, Anugrinami, what does he do? I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Boja moi, Dios mío. This is what it means to receive the express mercy of the Lord. Anugrinami. He takes away everything. Hari Shye Dhanam Shanai. That's why the Lord is called Hari, one who takes away. Krishna is inclined to take away those which are an impediment to our devotional service. And because most of us are not pure devotees, we struggle with attachment to getting a little bit more stuff, just a little bit more. That's all I need. And in this way, instead of contemplating Radha and Krishna's pastimes in the forest groves by the bank of the Yamuna Tira, Vanachari, instead we're thinking, if I could just get a little bit more money, I could solve this problem that I have. If I could just get one more of these things, then I'll finally be content. Meanwhile, we're saying to Krishna, oh, my Lord, I want devotional service. Oh, Lord, please make me your maidservant. But what are we thinking while we're chanting? I just need a little more money. So Krishna does not want us to suffer this dichotomy. He doesn't want us to be tortured. And so if he especially favors someone, he'll make it easy. Dear devotees, do not take these words lightly and assume that this is just some sort of rah-rah cheerleading. Wow, sounds really nice. Yeah, yeah. Harishe taddanam shanai, take away everything. No, he can really do that. And I've experienced only small, tiny portions, and it was too much to handle. But I've seen how the Lord can take away everything from someone who he especially favors, and then that person just becomes fully absorbed in devotional service. I'm not there yet, my dear Lord Krishna, but I appreciate the example set by others. Someday we might be so fortunate as to have everything taken away so that all we can do is call out the Lord's holy names. Telling Krishna that that's what we want. We tell him all the time. One of these days, he will reciprocate. He can do it very quickly. It's amazing the arrangements that the Lord can make. I've mentioned before to some of the devotees here about mother and daughter who lived at the New Varshana farm in Auckland, New Zealand. Beautiful place there. And this mother and daughter, they were visiting Vrindavan, and they made as their resolution to go all around the principal temples of Vrindavan, praying to Krishna, Srimati Radharani, praying, please, whatever it takes to make us pure devotees, just do anything that it takes. We want to become a pure devotee. They made this their fervent prayer for several days. And upon returning to New Zealand, this young girl, she's only a teenager, maybe 13, 14 years old, dove into some shallow pond near to the temple property and smacked her head upon a rock and became quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. And the mother and daughter recognized, they told the story. The mother and daughter recognized this as the reciprocation from the Lord. Harishe Taddanam Shanai. Can you imagine? The Lord can take away everything. What about taking away the function of your arms and legs so that all you can do is be rolled into the temple and to look at the deity form, Krishna, chant his holy names. Literally all that she could do. So many of us are not prepared to receive such mercy from the Lord. But if you so desire, you can chant this mantra, recite this prayer. Oh, it's not a prayer. This is the Lord speaking to you, Yudhishthira. You can recite it and pray to Krishna, asking to have this reciprocation. Harishe Taddanam Shanai. Please let me be the one who is especially favored and have everything taken away. This is a very special category of devotional service, which we should recognize and appreciate and not emulate or denigrate. If it seems like things are falling apart for a particular devotee, and yet they continue to take shelter of Krishna more and more, we might need to recognize the symptoms of yasyaham anugrinami, the special favor of the Lord. That's for very dear devotees. Then there's the next category of devotee, which is like Bali Maharaj here. He's a pure devotee. But as Prabhupada is saying here, he was awarded with such opulence, not uh, because of his giving everything to the Lord. This is what Prabhupada says in the purport to text 21. This is a really important point for us to contemplate and understand, and it is extrapolated upon in the Brihad Bhagavatam, wherein Sri Narada Muni is speaking with Prahlad Maharaj about the exalted quality of his devotional service. And Narada Muni made the very important statement that Bali Maharaj, who was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, was favored by the Lord for one reason only. Why was Bali Maharaj favored by the Lord? Not because he gave everything. You all know the story, right? He was there performing some sacrifice under the instruction of his guru, Shukra Acharya, the semen guru. It's one crude interpretation of the name, Shukracharya, implying, it's like a hereditary family guru and not necessarily the Vaishnava guru that we should be following. But under the instruction and order of his guru, Shukracharya, Bali Maharaj was performing some sacrifice when Sri Vamana Dev, the Lord himself, came and said, please give me some charity. It's the appropriate part of the sacrificial performance when you can distribute charity. And here I am, a young Brahmana, dwarf, and I asked you to give me a little something. And Shukracharya, recognizing the Lord's trickery, at least he had that much qualification. He said to Bali Maharaj, his ward, and said to him, don't give him anything. He's going to try to take everything from you. This is actually Vishnu in disguise. I mean, not in disguise. This is Vishnu himself. This is one of his transcendental forms, but that's not how Shukracharya saw it. He said, don't give him anything. He'll take everything from you. And Bali Maharaj said, well, then I should give. If he wants to take everything, then I should give. In fact, even if it was a regular Brahmana asking for everything, then I should give it. That's my duty as a Kshatriya king, to give everything. So, as you know, Bali Maharaj asked Lord Vamanadev, what is it that you desire? And Lord Vamanadev gave his very memorable answer. Simply ask for 3 paces of land. Being a very small dwarf person, couldn't expect much. And Bali Maharaj said, no, I'll give you a lot more than that. 3 paces of land. Come on, I can give you villages. I can give you wives. I can give you wealth, power. Hell, I could give you a planet. Ask for something more. And Lord Vamanadev said, if you can't be satisfied with 3 paces of land, then you can't be satisfied with a whole planet, even the whole universe. So just give me my 3 paces. An important lesson for all of us. Why are we not satisfied? We can't be satisfied with even little things. We're not going to be satisfied with more of those same things. We're not satisfied with the money that we have now, but we think if I have more, then I'll be satisfied. Nah. Lord Vamanadev says, all you need is 3 paces of land so you can lay down and take a nap. It's always pointing to the simple pleasures in life. That was Srila Prabhupada's commentary. 3 paces of land is all you need to lay down and to sleep. So Bali Maharaj agrees, fine. Is that all you want? 3 paces of land? Then I'll give you 3 paces of land. And as you know, Lord Vamanadev, with his first step, covered the whole planet. Second step, extended his foot all the way to the edge of the universe where the coverings are, poked a hole through it so that the celestial Ganges poured down. Can you imagine Bali Maharaj and Shukracharya and everybody else? They're shocked and they're all going, whoa. Because remember, these are the demons. This is the demon family, the Asuras. Can you imagine? They're shocked and all watching as Lord Vamanadev extended his foot all the way past the edge of the universe, like, oh my God. And because he had taken everything with only 2 steps, then Lord Vamanadev asked Bali Maharaj, said, hey, you promised me 3 paces. I've already taken everything that you have. Where am I supposed to put my last step? Of course, Bali Maharaj gave a very, very devotional answer, saying, please place your last step upon my head. Atmanivedana. I surrender everything to you. I surrender my own self to you. That the Lord cannot take on his own. He can take everything else. He can take everything. He can take your body. He can take the function of your arms and legs. He can take your home. He can take your money, take your property. Take everybody you know. He can take that. But what he cannot take is yourself. He honors our free will to choose Krishna. So that's why Atma Nivedanam is a devotional principle. It's a devotional act. Not that the Lord can force it. So he surrendered everything to Lord Vamanadev. And yet herein Srila Prabhupada is saying the Lord, of course, awarded Bali Maharaj sovereignty over all of the subterranean planets. That's why we're reading about it in this chapter. And Lord Vamanadev even became his personal servant, his doorkeeper, which is an intimate service, actually. You have to be the one who knows who gets to talk to you and who's qualified or who's important enough. It's actually a pretty important, intimate service to be like the wingman. And Lord Vamanadev did all of this for Bali Maharaj not because he gave everything to him. That's the part we might misunderstand. When we read that pastime, which is in the 4th canto, I believe, when we read that pastime, we should not misconstrue that Bali Maharaj was uh, awarded such opulence and intimacy with the Lord because he sacrificed everything. How could Krishna become impressed by that? You think just that the contents of one universe impresses Krishna? He creates unlimited universes in his yoga nidra, in his form as Mahavishnu, with his inhalation, exhalation. He creates unlimited universes. You think just giving Krishna everything that you own impresses him? He's got so much more than that. And even all of those universes aren't interesting to him compared to the opulence of Goloka Vrindavan Dham, his own abode, expanded from his own pleasure energy. So giving everything to Krishna isn't that valuable to Krishna. So we're thinking, I've given so much money, I've given this, I've given that. What he wants is us to bow down and offer our head, Atma Nivedanam, to give ourself. That's the part that he doesn't have. That's what Krishna doesn't have. It's the only thing that he can't take from us is our willing love. Getting back to Bali Maharaj, Narada Muni, speaking to Prahlad Maharaj, here in Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord became Bali Maharaj's doorkeeper, not because of his giving everything to the Lord, but because of his exalted position as a lover of the Lord. Narada Muni made very clear in glorifying Prahlad, saying that Bali Maharaj was only favored by the Lord because he is your grandson. The devotion of Prahlad is so exalted, so remarkable, that because of the association, Bali Maharaj is favored. That's how this works. That's why Lord Vamanadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, became so inclined to favor, not just with opulence, but with his personal service, Bali, because of his relationship with Prahlad, his relationship with the pure devotee, made Bali Maharaj exalted in his devotion. That's why the Lord appeared as Vamanadev. That's why the Lord performed this trick, Yasyaham Anukurinami, Harishye Taddanam Shanai. He especially favored Bali Maharaj and took away everything. That's why, because of his relationship with Prahlad. Dear devotees, we have to remember, if we have any exaltation in devotion, just a little bit, that exaltation is manifested by, implanted by, cultivated by, nourished by, and offered to the Lord by another devotee. That's the exalted devotional position. There might be a less exalted devotional position where we think, nobody really did anything for me. I'm doing it all myself. I'm devoted to the Lord. It's just me and Krishna. We got our own thing going on, right? That is the less exalted position of devotion. It's said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, don't shoot the messenger, but it says, Archayam eva hareye, Archayam eva hareye, right? Any second now, it's going to come into my brain. Pujam yashadayehate, natad bhakteshu chanyeshu, sa bhakta prakrita smrita. It is not a very exalted position of devotion to think it's just me and the Lord. Archayam eva hareye, I'm worshiping the Lord. Just me and Krishna. But, offering respect and honor. Puja means to honor. Pujam yashariyahite, with faith, but not tad bhakteshu chanyeshu, but to not have similar worship and honor for the devotees and even for all other living beings. Sabhakta prakrita smrita. This is a materialistic devotee. It's a bhakta, but it's not an exalted bhakta. An exalted bhakta recognizes, I'm not here on my own. The devotion, what love I have in my heart for the Lord is not some unique quality of myself. It was transplanted by Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. It was cultivated, It's like that's why we like to use that word. I think Madhupan Leela's here. She knows this very common terminology in New Zealand. Cultivating. We're cultivating people in bhakti, encouraging, nourishing, and inspiring. It was cultivated, it was nourished, it was inspired, it was offered to the Lord by another devotee. That's the exalted devotional position that Krishna loves so much that he manifested his form as Lord Nrsingadev to protect Prahlad Maharaj. He manifested his form as Lord Vamanadev to award everything to him, even to become his personal servant. That's what Narada Muni said to Prahlad. You can read it in Brihad Bhagavatam. Read it. It's an incredible story. He says, Bali Maharaj is favored not because he gave everything. There's nothing you can give. None of our stuff is very interesting to Krishna. We have such pathetic stuff. Four walls. What do we have? Useless crap. What can we give to Krishna that he could be interested in, except for love and devotion? So Narada Muni says so explicitly, the Lord favored Bali Maharaj because of his exalted devotion, having associated with Prahlad Maharaj. Devotees, we should consider who is that person who's making my devotion exalted? Because on my own, it's not much. It can be a little pathetic, to be honest, my devotion on my own. But in the association of some devotees who have real love, then there's some chance for me to have some exalted bhakti. And maybe Krishna will favor me as well. So we're hearing about some different standards of devotion and how the Lord reciprocates. The highest level, yasyaham anugrinhami harishye taddanam shanai. If he especially favors, he takes away everything so that you have nothing but Krishna. For those who are a little less favored, he awards opulence. It is not material, but spiritual. But that opulence can be a distraction. He doesn't want to give it to just anybody because it can be some distraction. Will they use that opulence in the service of the Lord, or will it become some part of their downfall? That's concern. He's a real person. He has real concerns. If I give everything that this person is praying for, wealth and power and influence, will they just become distracted in their devotion? I don't want to do that. And so he doesn't frequently give opulence and wealth and power to his devotees, only if he's pretty confident that they will not fall down. But even still, it's their free will. Bali Maharaj, he has his free will. He can choose to use that opulence in Krishna's service or not. So that's why Srila Prabhupada says here, when a pure devotee is seen to possess exalted material opulence, it is not due to his karma. Rather, it is due to bhakti. The Lord can give more facility for engagement in devotional service if that is really the intention of that person. I have personal experience that the facilities increase if the intention is sincere. The opportunities to do more and more can increase. The material support needed to accomplish more devotional service can increase if the Lord sees that opportunity is there, that possibility is there. So as we're struggling with bills to pay, as we're dealing with so many apparently material responsibilities, some of which are directly connected to our service to the Lord, and some of them just seem like it's the stuff you got to do to stay alive. We should pray to Krishna saying, please help me to always use all the facilities that I have in your service. And then if the Lord so desires, he can give more and make it easier or make it more effective. But to just pray to the Lord for just a little more stuff. Don't expect Krishna to take that very seriously. He cares about us too much to just give us more stuff. Just like a parent who loves their child can't just give them every single thing that they demand. What kind of parenting is that? Every single thing that they demand, just give it to them? How is it going to help a kid? No, they'll have an unreasonable expectation about life. So a parent has to discern, has to teach the lesson, give as much as they deserve, show the affection and love also through giving, but not spoil the child. So similarly, don't expect Krishna to just make it in material things easy. But if we have the sincere desire to use what facilities we have, to use our assets, our properties, our vehicles and our money, our connections, our networks, to use all of them in Krishna's service, by Sankirtan, which is the easiest way to use everything, then he may give more and more. And it's not a result of karma, then it's actually a result of one's bhakti. So Prabhupada's saying in this purport. So there is a spiritual opulence, spiritual Aishvaryam, Bhoga Aishvaryam. But again, we don't want to indulge in this because, as I said here, if one has too much material opulence, the result is that one can no longer absorb his mind in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's not very nice. So, dear devotees, let's consider how to become exalted in devotion. Exalted means not asking Krishna for material stuff. He already knows what we need. The parent already knows what a child needs. You don't have to ask. A child doesn't have to say, I need 3 meals a day. I need clothes and I need shelter. I need education. The child doesn't have to say that. The parent already knows. Similarly, we do not need to pray to Krishna and tell him, I need this thing. I need that thing. I need a little more of this. The Lord can provide everything or take away everything very, very easily. But the one thing that he does not have, the one thing that he cannot take is our Atmanivedam, our self-surrender, giving everything to the Lord. That's what Bali Maharaj. If we want to become exalted in devotional service, we must associate with those devotees who show such exaltation by self-surrender. By their association, we can also become very, very, very dear to the Lord, like Bali Maharaj was dear to the Lord, not for sacrificing every single thing that he owned or giving the whole universe, but because of his relationship with Prahlad Maharaj. Dear devotees, we are fully dependent upon the Vaishnavas for our devotion. Find those devotees. Find those devotees who can make you exalted and serve them humbly. Pray to them. Express appreciation and affection for them. Offer something to serve them, and then our devotion can also be exalted. If we are too proud, if we are too puffed up with our own imagined sense of self-importance, we can be a devotee of Krishna. Sabhakta prakrita smrita. But exaltation is not available to someone who cannot appreciate how devotion is transplanted into the heart, cultivated and nourished and awoken and offered to the Lord by a pure devotee. So I'm asking everybody to, as your homework for the Srimad Bhagavatam class, literally write down the names of those exalted devotees who have awoken bhakti within your heart, who have conspired to create your devotional opportunities and to never fail in showing them respect and appreciation and offering them service for that matchless gift. Hare Krishna consciousness. I'll finish there because I need to finish a little early. Today's, unfortunately, Saturdays have become very busy for me, but we do have a few moments in case anyone who's tuned in would like to add something by way of commentary or question or even corrections.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just a question.
Haribo, Madhupan Lila, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
A servant of the sweet water pastime.
You were speaking a bit about this offering prayers to the Lord and how, depending on our surrender, Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. And then also how it seems as though he reciprocates in his own time, so according to his own desire, with the devotee who surrenders accordingly. So I'm just wondering if you could expand a little bit, for my clarification on the importance of praying, like praying to the Lord, because it seems as though he will reciprocate in his own time and he'll reciprocate according to your surrender, which he already knows.
He
So,
reciprocates in his own time, but he also reciprocates according to the devotee's time. It's Narada Muni. It's Narada Muni who arranged for Nalakura and Manigariva to be in the direct association, in the presence of Krishna in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. He'll also do what his devotee wants. Krishna has his prerogative, but what did we just read in this previous verse? What did we just read? Yeah, look at this. It says that he gives himself, he sells himself to the pure love of such devotees. He gives himself to those who love him purely. So yes, Krishna can reciprocate in his own time whenever he wants, or maybe not at all. But if some exalted devotee says, this Madhupan Leela should just please engage in devotional service, then Krishna reciprocates with that exalted devotee. We're not, we're not yet at that place where, as is described in text 21, the Lord sells himself to us. But if we are fortunate to know someone to whom the Lord would sell himself, then they can entreat the Lord on our behalf. So we pray not just to the Lord, but to the Lord's devotees. We pray to Srila Gurudev. We pray to all of them that inspired us and assisted us. And you see how that reciprocation comes swiftly and effectively. It'll shock you how swift and effective those prayers can be. That's why when we pray Vanam, one of the 9 processes of devotional service, that's why we should make a habit of repeating the prayers already offered to the Lord by pure devotees. Of course, we can pray ad lib, a sort of spontaneous wrapping of prayers. But if we repeat those prayers that have already been offered to the Lord by the devotees, then the Lord has already accepted them. He's very pleased by those because we're showing we want to follow the example of this devotee who's very dear to you. When we recite the prayers spoken by Prahlad Maharaj, the Lord hears that. He sees, oh, this person appreciates my pure devotee, Prahlad. Shoche tatobi mukacheta sa indiyarta maya sakaparam udvahatobi muda. Right? Prahlad Maharaj says, my Lord, I don't have any problems in this material world. He says, as far as I'm concerned, I've got no problems going on anything on this side of the Vaitani River because I'm always absorbed in Mahamnita Magna Chetaha. I'm always absorbed in remembering your wonderful exalted qualities, my Lord. So I don't have any problems. I don't suffer. But the little suffering that I feel, Shoche Tato Mukha Chetasa Indriyarta Maya Sukhaya. The only suffering, the only lamentation that I actually experience is for all those poor fools who know nothing about you and are therefore chasing after illusory happiness, like grabbing wisps of smoke. I lament for them. Srila Prabhupada, in translating verse, he actually added to Prahlad Maharaj's prayer. You go read the verse, and in the Sanskrit, it's not there in the Sanskrit, but Prabhupada added Bhava Anuvada to help us understand the mood. Prabhupada added, I am simply concerned out of love for them. So this is a prayer we recite to the Lord. Go in front of Sri Sri Radha Damodar, recite this prayer. Repeat that same devotional mood. And the Lord hears that, seeing, oh, you're saying that the same thing that my pure devotee said. Ears perk up a little more because of that, because of our connection, because of our following in the footsteps of his pure devotee. And then that reciprocation is swift and effective. And that mood of devotion awakens in our heart. It's already there in our heart. Hearing from the pure devotees how they speak to the Lord, how they pray to the Lord, awakens that mood of devotion. When we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam or Nectar Devotion, you're shopping around for devotional sentiment. Some of those prayers, they speak to you. You say, I get that. I feel that. So those are the ones you should learn and repeat to the Lord. He's especially pleased by that. So, sorry, I'm getting off topic, but yes, he has his own prerogative. He can act on his own time. But if we are in the association of an exalted devotee, if they entreat the Lord on our behalf, you'll be shocked at how swiftly and effectively the Lord can reciprocate. It will shock and awe you. Have a little first-hand experience. Hare Krishna. Okay, we should wrap up here unless there's any other uh, comments or questions. Is this
I
Leela
always have something,
Kishori
Prabhu.
asking a question or no? No, thank you, Leela Kishori, for your kind words. And Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Tarika Prabhu, what would you like to?
Yeah, I don't want to hold you up. I'll try to keep it brief, but there's just I've always got these things welling up that need to be expressed. Um, yeah, it's not only, of course, Atmanivedinam. Um, one need not necessarily give everything. Um, Srila Chakravarti Thakur, in one of his comments on these verses, makes reference to Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, Nome Bhakya Pirachati, right? Um, Even a simple offering of a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, because it's not the item necessarily that Krishna is going to be pleased with, but the quality of the sentiment behind the offering, the element of bhakti is the critical feature. What else did I have? There's an interesting, speaking of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there is an interesting um, verse that he quotes in connection with these verses. And give me a moment while I locate this. Where was that now? Geez, I'm all over. Yeah, he explains that in talking about how material enjoyment is an obstacle for devotees practicing pure bhakti, and as you pointed out, I think you pointed out, or maybe it was just the way I heard it, but and expressly stated here by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is that the demigods and Indra in particular were not actually the recipients of the Lord's mercy. They, this pastime appears to have been initiated by their request for help from the Lord, but that's not. And this you did expressly point out the fact that it was really all about Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, not the demigod. So he says that material enjoyment was given to Indra, but he did not actually show his true mercy to Indra. The demigods got their kingdom back, and but the real mercy was given to Bali Maharaj, and he quotes from the Vishnu Purana. This verse I found is not mentioned anywhere in Srila Prabhupada's books, nor anywhere in the entire database, except for, coincidentally, you mentioned Sri Brihad Bhagavatam, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Yes, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So it is mentioned there by Srila Sanatana Goswami, and it reads as follows: Vasudeve mano yasya japa homa janadishu tasyantarayo maitreya devena devendrat palam. O Maitreya, for a person whose mind is focused on Lord Vasudeva, by chanting of mantras, by offering of oblations, by worship of the Lord's deity, and so on, such results as becoming the king of the demigods are simply obstacles to his progress. This is mentioned in Brihad Bhagavatamrita in the second volume, as produced by Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu. The fourth chapter, texts 219 and 220. Fabulous read. The whole book is spectacular, but there's some nice commentaries in there from Srila Sanatana Goswami. Very, very illuminating, and I recommend it highly. And I had some other thoughts. Of course, lots of personal experience of opulence given and taken. I have been blessed with great fortunes numerous times, and I've had them taken away completely numerous times. And learned a few things along the way. But I'll say that even within our own movement, within ISKCON, you can find many, many devotees who have been blessed with great opulence, and not as a matter of karma. Their karma is nullified by their devotional service, but somehow, for whatever reason, they are entrusted with some opulence, and then they try to engage it all in Krishna's service. Most famously amongst them is our own dear Srila Prabhupada, who was blessed with extraordinary wealth and power as a founder of Charya of ISKCON. He commented on this many times that he had so much wealth at his disposal. But of course, he always engaged all of it strictly in Krishna's service, and never a farthing for sense gratification. And that's the key to if you want to achieve opulence in devotional service, Krishna consciousness. Everything for Krishna, nothing for yourself. That's my experience. Anyway, got lots more, but I'm going to stop because you need to go. Thank you very much for a very nice class. Lots of nectar in these verses, really, really sweet and juicy. And thank you for your illuminations. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Tarka Prabhu, for further insight. Bali Maharaj's very interesting situation. Nitai Chand Prabhu has his digital hand up. You'd like to add something? Dear Nitai Chand, moon-like Nityananda.
Yeah, super short,
Oh.
since you have to go, I hear, which is rare. Anyway, I was listening to your wonderfully opulent nectarian class while I was dressing Shishi Nitai Gaurasunder this morning, and it was reminding me your commentary on the purports and everything, especially was reminding me that Srila Prabhupada's protreptic, his instruction to us to whatever happens to you, just don't leave the association of the devotees. So I thought you drove that point home very beautifully, that the real exaltation comes by having that bhakti placed in your heart by a pure devotee. And I just remember Srila Prabhupada saying very personally, very matter-of-factly, it doesn't really matter what you do, what happens to you, that's Krishna's problem, but you just don't leave the association of the devotees. Otherwise, what's your chance of having anything truly wonderful implanted in your heart? So I was thinking that while I was dressing this morning because of your wonderful class. Thank you so much. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Nitai
Watch
Chand.
Dad. You're
Thank
such
you
a
for
great
reminding
dad.
us.
Super proud of you.
Hey, devotees, take some time to contemplate those Vaishnavas who have given us access to Krishna, who have placed devotion within our hearts. We should honor them, remember them. We're nothing without them. And if we can't think of such a devotee, then find one quickly. That's the exaltation of Bali Maharaj, simply his association with Prahlad, according to Narada Muni. All right. Thank you, dear devotees, for tuning in. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Haribol, thank you, Yashodeva.